Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel, and you're probably going to see the title, and some of you are going to want to rush right to the comments and tell me how wrong I am. Fair enough. But I'm just here to talk about some of the things that I see. Now, obviously, charts are not everything, and we know that NVIDIA is a very fast-growing company. We also know that NVIDIA is over a $3 trillion market cap right now, overtaking pretty much every large company out there, including Apple, I believe, and Microsoft recently. We also know that there's the possibility that NVIDIA could keep on going up. I'm not saying that this rally is not going to continue. We've seen crazy things in the market. I thought it was crazy when Apple hit a $1 trillion market cap, right? So obviously, like, we've seen these things happen before. We know that the hype cycle is starting to pick back up across the market. So that was the general thing that I was trying to say in my last video, is that we have this cycle of fear and greed. And what we know is that when stocks start to pick back up and go parabolic, that you're starting to enter that greed, or I guess you could say excitement / thrill stage. And what I've noticed each time this happens, no matter what company it is, there's always people who say this time it's different. This time it's AI. This time NVIDIA is going to be at the forefront of the largest boom in AI history. This time the stock's going to keep on going up because XYZ, because the company's growing at X rate, and therefore it's such a great company, everybody should own NVIDIA. The point I'm trying to make is we are entering this phase with not just NVIDIA. NVIDIA is leading the charge, but we're seeing all types of assets start to go back up. So we're entering that greed cycle, or I guess you could say the optimism / excitement, at least with NVIDIA. I'd say we're kind of entering that excitement and also the thrill stage, to the point where we're hitting that euphoria stage now, and I think it's getting kind of to the point where you should consider taking profits if you're up. Now, like I said, I know a lot of people are going to say, just view it as a long-term investment, and that's fine. But how much are you up? Are you up to, I think I saw somebody say they're up 2,000%. Congratulations. But that's only on paper unless you actually hit the sell button. And keep in mind, there's always another investment opportunity. People think that they can only invest in this stock because NVIDIA is this, and they're going to be this AI massive company that's going to be the Intel of AI, or whatever it is. So I get it, right? People get emotionally involved in these stocks, but at the same time, we also have to consider the fact that this stock has risen quite substantially already. I mean, from people were buying this stock back in 21, for example, when this stock split adjusted was under $20 a share. So 15 bucks going back to 21, people have basically 10x their money. Now, it was the same story with Tesla back in 2021, the EV hype, right? Clean energy, and how combustion engines are going to be gone soon. So the point is, we know that people have been buying this stock, obviously, back in 2020, 2021, are up massively. We know that these companies, a lot of these large tech companies, do equity compensation packages. We know that there's supply and demand in the market. It's the most basic economic principle that whenever we have extreme greed in the market, prices are typically going parabolic and there's no end in sight. Momentum is your friend in that situation. Call options right now, if you're buying call options, you might be making a lot of money on paper. If you're actually taking the profits is the question. But this has been seen before, and that was the point I was trying to make in the last video. So I don't want to make this too long, but I just wanted to emphasize, this cycle repeats itself over and over and over again in financial markets. That's why I like to talk about these topics. I like to talk about the psychology of investing, because we know that extreme greed can also turn to extreme fear very quickly. Okay, so what we have here is a situation where if NVIDIA were to sell off, let's say 50% from the current price, then you would have an entirely different narrative. And obviously, a lot of you who are watching this channel probably know that. And the fact is, we know how things can change quickly in the market. So just as an extreme greed situation where people are making tons of money, like I said, congratulations. I hope you're actually taking some profits if you're up massively on this stock. If you're up 2,000%, if you're up, whatever amount you are, from when, if you're buying this stock in 2019, you could have gotten it for the split adjusted price of $5 a share. I mean, that is a fantastic return. But like I said, I've been around the market long enough to know this cycle when I see it. And I would urge investors and traders, whatever you consider yourself to be cautious. I mean, to consider the opportunity at hand. I mean, you have a chance to potentially make a lot of money if you actually cash them out. And this is not to say that you should. I mean, I'm just saying, like, consider these things. Consider the greed and fear cycle that we've seen in the market before. We know that when stocks go parabolic, nothing goes up forever, right? So gravity will eventually pull it down. And like I said, it's a matter of time. It could go up another 6 months, another year, and maybe I'm totally wrong here and NVIDIA goes up to a $10 trillion market cap. What is that, a 3x from its current $3 trillion market cap? So there's obviously going to be individuals who say just hold the stock long term. Fair enough. If you're a long-term investor and you're comfortable with the volatility, if you look at Tesla, like Tesla hasn't totally crashed from 2020, right? It's down another 1% today, but I mean, it's kind of just trading in a sideways pattern. So keeping that in mind, I mean, consider your own risk tolerance, your investing goals. Because I remember the same narrative with Tesla. Oh, this is different. This is the next GM. This is the next whatever, right? So it's always the same narrative. It's always different. And if you grew up during the dot-com bubble, you probably remember the same thing, right? So if you're buying these stocks really cheap, that's the way to do it. If you're there before anybody else, obviously you're going to make a lot of money if you're actually taking profits on the way up. But that's why I love talking about these things on the channel, because this is all about psychology. And that's what these Wall Street guys understand. And ultimately, the retail trader, I think, has, especially with the GameStop scenario, which I think is hilarious, especially to Wall Street, because it's another topic altogether. But basically, Wall Street is such a big bureaucracy. To see them get slammed, like, with a story like GameStop, where these hedge funds are losing billions of dollars, is quite hilarious. And it's one of those things where, whether you're a short-term trader, long-term investor, obviously consider your own risk tolerance and investing goals, but also consider the fact that nothing goes up forever. Because I remember back in 2020, 2021, it was the same story with Tesla. Everything was going to be different this time with EVs, and there was this narrative on Wall Street that basically we have to transition into clean energy. And yeah, that's kind of happening, probably at a much slower pace than many were anticipating. But the fact is, like, we know that since that peak in 2021, Tesla has not recovered, right? So weigh the risk and reward, right? So we've seen basically a over 50% price cut from that peak in 2021, well over 50% actually. So yeah, just keep that in mind. I mean, that's all I'm going to say. I'll leave it at that. God bless. Thank you so much, and congrats to everybody making money in NVIDIA. To the moon.